So, with a new version of Warzone right around the corner, I figured it'd be a good time to give my final criticisms of this game. I did a Things That Annoy Me video about this game when it first came out, and obviously my opinions have greatly changed since then, because I really didn't care for this game at all when it launched, but since then it's become my go-to multiplayer game, and I'm still actively playing it. The Black Ops overhaul officially goes live on December 16th, at which point we're supposed to be getting a new map and all the Black Ops Cold War guns, so I figured it'd be a good time to do a kind of final review of Modern Warfare's Warzone. For those who are new to this channel, the Things That Annoy Me series is a review series where I only focus on the negative aspects of otherwise perfectly acceptable games. And I have to put that notice at the front of these videos because when I start dumping over them, people get upset otherwise. I mean, people get upset regardless, but I don't really care. I believe in the importance of negative reviews, even if I really enjoy the game, because no game is perfect, and negative elements of games shouldn't go ignored just because there's a lot of positive. So, let's take a final look at all the things that annoy me about Modern Warfare's Warzone. Also, this is my first video using the section timestamp thing, so if you want to skip around, you can do that. I tried to organize the video as best I could. Also, I would normally be using the Wii Shop music in the video like this, but Nintendo just out of nowhere started striking people for using their music, and I have like 50 videos using the Wii Shop music on my channel, so my channel might be gone soon. For starters, solos is fucking terrible. This is the single worst solo battle royale experience I've ever played. This map just wasn't built for solo play. With all the map space and bounties available, having 150 individual teams at once just destroys the flow. Duos is slightly better, but Warzone really is a game that was designed for squad play. I would have liked to see Infinity Ward tweak the solo loot spawns a bit to make it work a little more, but that just never happened. It's honestly bizarre how I can view Warzone squads as the best BR on the market right now, but Warzone solos as one of the most unenjoyable things you could ever do with your time. Solos is just way too slow because there's little to no incentive to move around a lot of the time. And since the map is so big and there's so many people dying right off spawn, it just creates a painfully boring and incredibly RNG dependent experience. There's a reason solos works in games like Ring of Elysium and hell, even early Fortnite, but it never worked in Warzone. The weapon balance is a little iffy for my taste. Close range fights are dominated by the R90 and the MP5. Nothing even competes with them. But I think beyond close range, things are much more balanced. Sure, people are going to spam the Kilo and the M13 because they're popular choices, but statistically, almost every gun in this game outside of the SMG and shotgun categories in this game is viable. I ran the AK-47 for the longest time, and recently I've been goofing around with the Fin. There aren't very many guns in this game that I think are unviable beyond close range. The close range meta is extremely one-dimensional, and frankly, I don't think fire shotguns should have ever been added to the game in the first place. I understand why they had to be there for the sake of synergy with Modern Warfare's multiplayer, but a weapon type like this is just a nightmare for balancing. In a game like Warzone, at least. Fire shotguns worked in Black Ops 4 because you had manual healing to counter them, but in Warzone, you literally can't heal while you're burning, and that makes them way too powerful. They make fights painfully one-sided, and then the MP5 is far and away the best SMG in the game. It still blows my mind they never nerfed this thing. So yeah, the close range balancing in Warzone is horrendous, but beyond close range, outside the SMG and shotgun categories, the balancing is honestly great, and almost every gun is viable. It's just the close range balancing that really needed work. The field upgrades were a cool idea, but again, they created some balancing issues that really only existed for the sake of keeping synergy with the Modern Warfare multiplayer. Stopping power and dead silence should not be in the game. Trophy systems, deployable cover, recon drones, those all fit perfectly fine because the enemy can see them and they're obvious and there's well-known ways to counter them. However, dead silence and stopping power are invisible to the enemy, and if someone is using them and gets the first hit, the fight is pretty much over before you can shoot back. Audio is incredibly important in a battle royale game, so dead silence takes a ton of actual skill out of the engagement because you can just run up on someone with no consequence. And then stopping power can just make any gun an instant kill, again, without the target ever knowing it was being used on them. Stuff like this just shouldn't be in a battle royale game, but when you look at it from Activision's perspectives, you can see why it's here. Warzone is a standalone game, yes, but it's also a playable advertisement for Modern Warfare, so everything in Modern Warfare needed to be in Warzone as well. I wish dead silence just decreased the footstep audio, not completely erase it. And stopping power should slightly increase your damage, not gigantically increase it. I'm really hoping these things are fixed for Cold Warzone, because all things considered, Warzone is a very skill-based BR, and that's something that's hard to make. But then there's stuff like this that just really threw off the experience for me at times. Dead silence and stopping powers simply should not be in a game that claims to be a competitive or skill-based experience. Perks were reworked a few times throughout this game's life, and they're probably gonna continue to be tweaked because certain ones are obviously better than others. Perk 2 is an absolutely stacked category, but Perk 1 and 3 seem to only have 2 or 3 viable perks in each, leaving 3 to 4 being completely forgotten in each. Again, with the Modern Warfare synergy thing, at some point sacrifices need to be made for the sake of balance. Okay, the skill-based matchmaking is annoying at times in Warzone, but honestly, the experience doesn't bother me as much as the matchmaking times. I'm in the top 1% of Warzone matchmaking, so sometimes there can be up to 10 minutes of downtime from match to match. I've said it before, but one of the best things about early Fortnite was how you could drop in, die, click play, and then be dropping into another match in literally less than 60 seconds. Playing with people of my skill level doesn't bother me as much as the serious icing that happens between matches because of the longer queue times. I understand the need for skill-based matchmaking in a game like this, I just wish it was a little more lenient for the upper brackets for the sake of queue times. But speaking of top 1%, the way these things are calculated is a little bizarre. I have, what, a 1.7, 1.8 KD in this game, and that's top 1%? Really? I don't know, that just doesn't seem right to me. And while we're talking about leaderboards, how come so many of the top killers in the world are obvious cheaters, and yet some of them have been up there for like 2-3 months? I know Warzone cheating is a dead horse at this point, but it's stuff like this that just really gets under my skin. It's right there. You don't need manual review, you don't need footage, this dude is cheating, and so is this one, and so is this one. And yet some of them have been up there for months. When you let cheaters go unpunished for so long, it only enables other people to start cheating because you're declaring to the world that you don't care. We see this every few weeks. The cheating is bad, Infinity Ward does a ban wave, the game is clean for like 2 weeks, and the cheating gets bad again until the next ban wave, and it just repeats like that. Infinity Ward can say all they want that they don't like cheaters and they don't condone cheating, but unless you actually do something about it, it's going to keep cycling like this. Enable an actual anti-cheat software, for the love of God. The manual review thing was a fun experiment, but I think we can all agree it didn't work. You're never going to be able to get rid of all the cheaters, but simply utilizing an anti-cheat software will greatly improve the problem. I guess I could complain about aim assist, but honestly it doesn't bother me that much. Yes, controllers have an advantage at close range thanks to the aim lock, but I mean mouse and keyboard have an advantage at longer ranges because of the free movement of a mouse, so honestly I don't really care all that much. Yes, there are some controller clips that are really egregious, but at the same time the same can be said of certain mouse and keyboard clips. I think people just need to get over this. Both platforms have their advantages, and it's not the game's fault if you don't want to utilize them. Okay, so this is the part where I nitpick the technical aspects of Warzone, so keep in mind that I'm a PC player and the things I'm about to say might not apply to everyone. Alt-tabbing in this game is terrible. I don't know why. If you play this game in full screen, it lags your whole computer when you alt-tab, and it's the only game I have where it's this bad. Some other games do this too, but Warzone is by far the worst. Also, when you click quit game, like when you close the program, it can freeze your whole computer for like 30 seconds. Again, I've never played a game before that can cause such a massive reaction in your machine by doing such a simple function. Sometimes when you alt-tab out of the game and come back in, your render resolution will be set to 66%. No clue why this happens, but it's been there since launch and it was never fixed. Now, I personally have not had that many crashes in Warzone, but I have friends who crash frequently, so I feel the need to bring this up. I think throughout the last 7 or 8 months of playing this game, I've only crashed a handful of times, but certain others crash almost every hour. This game is just horrendously optimized, and I believe part of that has to do with Activision's lackadaisical attitude towards file compression and trimming the fat out of their games. For reference, here's Doom Eternal's file size on PC. Here's The Witcher 3's file size on PC, Arkham Knight's file size. But then here's COD World War II, and Black Ops 4, and Modern Warfare. I find it absolutely no coincidence that these games are fucking gigantic and run like ass. I have no idea why Activision just refuses to condense files for Call of Duty, and I admit I'm no software expert, I'm just a passionate PC gamer who knows a thing or two about hardware. But again, I find it no coincidence that these games do little to no file compressing and have incredibly inconsistent technical performance. If you do know stuff about software, I genuinely would love to get your thoughts on this in the comments. Again, I'm not a software expert, I'm just a guy recognizing certain patterns. Also, the loading next player bug in spectator mode is super fucking annoying, and I really am not sure how that's still a thing. Again, it's a bug that's been in the game since launch. There's no excuse for this. So that's everything about Warzone that annoys me pre-Black Ops overhaul. Like I said, I think it's a great game right now. It's my go-to multiplayer game, and I'm gonna keep playing as long as the overhaul doesn't kill my computer or something. But that's all the time I have. I need to edit this and get it up while it's still relevant. And, yeah. Stay safe.